Hi, my name is Laka. Full name is Waithaka Nyaga, but people call me Laka. I'm a saxophonist and a band leader with Shamsi Music, and I've been in bands for the past 20 years of my life, almost 20 years of my life. And of course, where many people start out, I started out in church, playing, that time I was playing guitar, small. In fact, hiyo time nilikuwa na nyongwa sound, msee wa sound alikuwa ananinyonga, but it's okay, I forgive you. But from there, I started developing. Actually, no, my first band, very first band was me and my siblings. Someone gave us a keyboard in our house. Na madhe alisema, there's no learning any other instrument, kila mtu lazima learn keyboard. So of course, wageni wakikuja, madhe anatuita, tunajipanga hapo mbele, and then we sing for the visitors. Bro ndio alikuwa anacheza keyboard sana. But yeah, that's where we started. And from there, of course, being in church, I remember in high school, I was part of a group called Imperfect, which was a rock band. And we even won a Chaguo Latinis award. That was my first awards, my first award win. It was so surreal. Tulikuwa tunaingia hapo KICC, watu wana scream, watu wanajaribu kushika, unatembea unapapaswa hapa. I was just like, wow, ndio star. And from there, of course, high school pia nilikuwa kwa choir. I was in the school choir. I was in the chapel choir as well. I was on the worship team in school as well. Where else? So from there, after school now, just with friends, we came together. We were just chilling, hanging out, musical friends really. So we're like, you are gifted in music, you're talented in music, you can do this, you can do this. Let's get together and do something.
So I appreciate all our friends. Huh? Now this next song is called Okaka. Say Okaka. Okaka means the great and mighty warrior king. And so we're talking about people who fought, people who laid down their lives for the sake of their friends, for the sake of their communities, for the sake of their people. Talking about people like Shaka Zulu. Ha! People like Nelson Mandela. Ha! People like Thomas Sankara. Ha! People like Kwame Nkrumah. Ha! People like Wangari Maathai. Ha! People like Mekatilili Wamenza. Ha! People like you and me who go to work every day to feed their families and feed themselves. Ha! People like Shamsi Music. Ha! And so we're going to pretend for one moment that we're all one big community. And we've heard that our king has gone off to a distant land to fight, to win lands for us, to liberate us. And so now we are hearing that this king is coming back and he's been victorious. And we're going to prepare to dance. We're going to prepare to welcome him back home. Are we okay? Are we ready? So where are the dancers? Where are the dancers? Let's see. Where are the people with the side-sole skirts? Let's go. This song is called Okaka.
Letu Sauti Sol ilianza hapo nje ya Lions wakijam. Actually then they started in high school, but anyway. So even us used to meet there at Lions with a guitar. You play, or you meet in someone's house, or you meet in church. And that band was called Madorik. Interesting name, but we'll get to how to name your band in a minute. Yeah, from there I was in another rock band called X&O, did fantastic things with X&O, started a whole series of shows, and again we'll talk about putting up events as your band. Which other bands were we in? I was in so many bands. In uni, I was in a band called B7, hapo tulikuwa tucheza sana rumba, which wasn't really my style, but it really grew me to be part of a group that individuals who really knew the music and were able to guide me in learning new music. So I've been part of so many bands, from jazz to orchestra music to rock music to even like in like hip hop ensembles. I was even part of Frank Biong's Orchestre Lipombe Jazz, which played a lot of his music and even put up the first Fela Kuti tribute concert here in Kenya. Anyway, all I'm saying is bands have been a huge part of my life for the past almost 20 years. And today we're going to talk about how to start your band. And this is really for anybody who is looking to start a band professionally, looking to just chill with a few musical friends and make some good music, or even someone who's, kind of doing a project. Like maybe you have some music and you just want a band just for that project. There's bits and bobs here that will apply to everybody, and there's some of them that are specific to like professional or church. So just pick what you need, but listen to the whole thing. We're going to spend a whole hour together. So I hope you're seated down with a hot cup of uji, like myself. And no, I'm not the cup of uji. I actually have a cup of uji here. Yes. So settle down with a hot cup of uji, get out your notepad, and let's get into this. We're going to learn how to start a band.
This song also goes out to our friend Paul Kimani Shege, a great leader who never got to live his time. Let's go.
So the first assumption is that you are a band leader or someone who's trying to start a band, and you're doing this, you're the initiator. You're the one who is running everything. So let's start from before you start the band. There's a couple of things that you need to consider, and here's where we go. This is a jump off. So before you start the band, you need to know why you're starting the band. Are you doing this as a vanity project? Are you doing this because maybe you're in a church and you want to start a worship team, or you want to upgrade the worship team a bit and you're looking for musicians? How do you go about that? Are you maybe you're at work and you play the bassoon or the flute, and you realize Johnny plays guitar, Mary plays keyboard, Smith plays drums. I don't know who Smith is, but anyway. Maybe that's your context. So before you start, there's a couple of things that you need to consider and think through pretty carefully. First of all is why you're starting the band, which I've sort of covered. And there are many reasons to start the band. Maybe you want to make money off of your musical talent. Maybe you just want to get a group of friends together to make good music and enjoy for yourselves. Or maybe like you have that group of friends and you want to start playing music outside, or you have your own music and now you want to get people around to play your own music and now play like live in venues and such. Or you have a recording and you want to bring people together to record. So those are some of the reasons why we start bands. And even then, you need to realize that there are bands that are for live performance, and there are some nuances to that we'll talk about a bit later. There are bands just for recording. We call them session bands or session musicians. And these are people who come into studio, like if you have a studio like this, and you have a song that you want to do, you come with your lyrics, you come with your tunes, your melodies and everything, and then they'll help figure it out and arrange it, and then it's recorded by the band. The other bands that we have are what I'd call, sometimes they're called mercenaries. These are people who do it just for the money, just for the moolah. And so these are people who are extremely versatile, can play almost any genre of music, and it's like dial a band. I want a band for a wedding. Tip. I want a band for, let's say, Safaricom Live. Tip. When it was there. And there are so many different iterations of that. So once you've determined why you want to start a band, let's go to the next thing. You want to think about your style of music. And this is like the genre of music, the kind of the box that you'll put yourself in. I know a lot of people want to start bands and just be like, I just want to play everything. I listen to all music, you know, and that can work against you. Because if you start a band like that, and you get one person who likes rock, another person who likes rumba, another person who likes reggae, another person who likes kapuka or classical music, it can be very hard then to bring all those styles together unless, you know, everyone is open-minded and everybody is geared towards that sort of mixing of the genres or mixing of the music in that way. So once you've determined your style, and the style really also informs the makeup of your band. So if you have like, let's say a reggae band, at the very least you need your band instruments. You need your drum set, you need keyboards, you need a guitar, you need bass guitar, because you need to have the those bass lines. And then the guitar, of course, is doing the chopping. This is just for example. Keyboards, of course, is the organ sounds. And of course the drum, the one drop, has to be there.
This song is for you. This one comes from Western Kenya. So I want you to loosen up your shoulders. Let's go. Shaking your shoulders, shaking your shoulders. Hoots, 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 hoots. Jazz, jazz, jazz. The song is called Hoots.
So once you've determined your genre of music, then you'll be able to see how to compose your band, or which instruments you need, which players you need. Of course, if you're doing something like reggae, you need at least the bass guitar, the drum, maybe keyboard, and guitar. If you're doing something like jazz, you definitely need, well, most of the times, you'll need a saxophonist, or you'll need, like a trumpet or something like that, one of those brass instruments. If you're doing something like rumba, it would be great if you had like a brass section, which is like a trumpet, saxophone, and maybe a trombone or another saxophone, just so that it gives you that authentic sound. The other thing that you need to think about is what type of band you want. Do you want to play original music? Like Shamsi, we started with the intent of playing our own original music. So a huge part of what we do is writing music, composing. You know, we take time to put that stuff together. Do you want to be a cover band? And you know, there are amazing cover bands out there. One of the top in my mind, I mean, they're not solely a cover band, but one of the top in my mind is James Jose and Gogo Simo band. Those guys, they'll play you any song just exactly how it sounds, and they're phenomenally skilled musicians. So do you want to do original music? Do you want to do cover music? Are you doing like, let's say, church music? Are you doing, what else is there? Is it like orchestral stuff? So the type of music you're playing also will determine your what kind of band you put together. So far we've talked about your genre of music. We've talked about the type of music that you want to play. It'll determine your repertoire. The other thing that we need to think about is the people that we're bringing on. You need skilled people. You need people who are quick learners, people who can work together well in a team. You don't want divas. Divas will stress your life. Band leaders, listen to me carefully. Divas will stress your life. You'd even rather have somebody who is maybe a bit less talented, but is willing to learn and is willing to put in the work, than somebody who will just, you know, cause you headaches every day. But then when you go to stage, they play excellently. That's just one word of caution. The other thing that you need to think about before starting a band is how how to engage people. So I'm talking about stuff like contracts. I'm talking about stuff like those terms. You want to think about the culture of the band, and this really should be an extension of yourself, of your personality, etc. etc. So if you're not, if you're a very happy person, it would be hard for you to do like a death metal band. Like those people, napenda shetani. No, I'm kidding. Death metal people out there, please do not stone me. But like even some of those things, your personality will bleed into the style of music that you play and the nature of your band. Another thing that you want to determine before you start the band is you want to have a band name and you want to have some sort of brand or identity. So let's talk about band names for a minute. There are different ways of coming up with band names. The easiest by far is just to name the band after yourself. So I'd have the Laka Trio or the Laka Quartet or something like that, or Laka and the Band, or something like that. Or something based off your name, like this guitarist and band leader called Cory Wong. So his name is Cory Wong, and then his band is called the Wong Notes. So he has Cory Wong and the Wong Notes. And my friend Judah Onesimus. So his name is Judah, and he named his band The Tribe. So you get it? The Tribe of Judah, yeah? So Judah and The Tribe. Other considerations when you're naming your band, so apart from naming it after yourself, you can name it after like what you're about. So if like you're into African music and you're into, I don't know, friendship or whatever, you might name your band something like Afro Sync, okay? So of course the Afro already gives away that you're playing African music. If you're into jazz, it can be the Jazz Conquerors or the Jazz Ambassadors, whatever it is. So your name can also clue people into what kind of music you play. Or you can go like us and do something very deep. So like us, we call Shamsi music. And you ask yourself, what is Shamsi? Ukiangalia kwenye misamiati ya Kiswahili hapo high school, tulikuwa tunasema nilidamka asubuhi mafungulia bakari. Japo miale ya Shamsi yalimiminia katikati ya pazia zangu. So Shamsi is just another name for the sun. So that's why even our identity, our brand, our logo looks like a sun, sort of. It's circular, it has lines that look like rays. And for us, the deeper meaning is that we wanted to be a light in the music industry and stand out like a light, okay? So you can go with that deeper meaning. One of the other interesting names that I've come across here in Kenya is Edward Parsin's band, and they're called Edward Parsin and the Different Faces Band. And that's a very clever name because then if it's almost like you don't expect to find the same faces in the band. So Edward Parsin, good job, man, good job. What else can you think about when we're talking about names? I don't know, what are some of the interesting names that you found for bands? Whether they're cryptic, like difficult names, like it's like, what is that? Like I mentioned before, one of the first bands I was in is called Madorik. Yeah, Madorik. And at the end is a Q, not a K or a C, Madorik. And you hear that name and you're like, what is that? But hopefully you come up with a name that's catchy, that stands out, that is unique, because you don't want like to be the one of 5 bands called, I don't know, Tamasha Music. I don't know what like some of those names that are used a lot. So it would be good if before, as you're searching for a name, just do a quick Google search, see if there are other bands that have that same name. And also, before I get there, so for us as Shamsi, the initial name that we wanted to call ourselves was Miale, actually. But then a quick search on Google revealed that there was another Miale band here in Nairobi. Yeah, so that wouldn't work because then it would be confusing. Are you talking about this Miale or this Miale? It's like, I'm a saxophonist and there are 2 saxophonists called Alex Han. like the same pronunciation and everything, except one is, the Han is H-A-N, the other one is H-A-H-N. So it's always confusing when you're talking about them. It's like, uliona hiyo nini ya Alexan mgani, Alexan huyo kipara ama huyo akona nywele. You know, all those different discussions. The other thing that you want to check is if you're coming up with a unique name or a different uncommon name, make sure it translates well in other languages. Here's what I mean. You might call your name, I don't know, like Kipara, and then you don't speak Kiswahili. Then you come here and, you know, Kipara is, for example, our tennis star, Naomi Osaka, started a media company recently. And the name of that media company, I will not say it here because neza pigwa viboko. Just go search for yourself. Naomi Osaka Media Company. And then Kenyans, come back and tell me what you discover. So it's important when you're coming up with a name, just try and check if it means other things in different languages, because you might go for a tour somewhere and people can't even say your name because it's bad manners or something like that. That reminds me of a story of a friend of mine who we're in a worship team with. And you know this song for Eyawe, Eyawe, Kumama? He couldn't sing it, could not, like at all. And now even there's that new Kumama, that's popular now. And he could not sing it. And we asked him, hey, Bana, Reggie, why can't you sing this song? He's like, do you know what Kumama means in my language? He was from Zimbabwe. If you don't know what it means, Google is your friend. Just go Google, or if you have a Zimbabwean friend, ask them what that means. So apart from, or in addition to the name, you want to come up with a logo or some sort of brand identity, something that people will see and easily relate to you or to your name. For us as Shamsi, we have this icon here. People call it the superhero logo, people call it the sun logo, different things, but it's iconic. You'll see it somewhere and you'll be like, oh, that's Shamsi. And I've seen this same thing on cars, on motorbikes, on people's instruments, guitars and stuff like that. And, you know, even further than my own immediate circles. So that tells me that then the brand is moving on further than we are sort of pushing it, or that I am pushing it, which is a great thing to see. As you're coming up with the logo, make sure, you know, you're thinking about the color scheme. Make sure you're thinking about what some of those pictures or images might mean in different contexts or cultures. Try and make it universal. That's what I'm saying. Again, also with the name, try and come up with something that is easy to say. Sisi kama Shamsi tumetaabika kidogo kwa sababu watu wanashindwa kusema Shamsi kwa namna inayofaa. So you go somewhere, some people call us Shamis, some people call us Shamshi, some people call us Chamchi, Samshi, all different sort of names. So I mean, that's one of the things that now we have to keep saying, no, it's Shamsi. So unless you're okay with dealing with that battle, you know, those are some of the things to consider when you're coming up with a name. So before you start the band, we've talked about thinking about what kind of band do you want to be. Do you want to be original music? Do you want to be a cover band? Do you want to do a mix of both? Are you doing, let's say like if you're a classical musician, are you just doing repertoire that comes from other composers and stuff, or are you wanting to do your own original stuff? The other thing we said, pick your genre, pick your style of music, because that'll determine a lot of things moving forward. You don't want to start vague. One of the things that I'll keep insisting is clarity is kindness, because as a band leader, you are a leader, and one of the most important things for a leader to do is to be clear and communicate clearly with the team. So pick a genre. If you're sort of genre hopping, also be clear on that. Maybe you say we play reggae, but we also have rap and we also have this. If you look at Heart the Band, they have of course their acoustic stuff. Actually, that's where they started. There's acoustic stuff, there's the full band stuff, there's the spoken word stuff, and all of that, there's a way now they have packaged it where it comes in as a whole thing. For us as Shamsi, there's the African stuff, what we call the Baba Africa sound. There's a storytelling. There's what else? There's a bit of genre hopping because there's a jazzy stuff as well. And we now have packaged that as our sound, as our own thing. If you look again at the trending rumba trap mix thing, again, that's a genre crossing thing. But if Sauti Sol does it, you know Sauti Sol are already, big influenced by rumba. So when they mix in another genre, as long as it has that rumba element, it's good to go.